Welcome to episode 5 of Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Ben, we're through week 1.
We've made
Tonight,
it. We have made
today,
it through
whenever you want to watch it.
week.
1 week.
Yep.
Today's episode, we are going to talk about, we're going to have another Thursday night prediction. We got Eagles and Vikings this week. Might be a little biased, but I'm going to pick heavily in the Eagles' favor.
Big shock.
We got some big shock, right? NFL news. Rodgers, Dobbins out for the year. We'll kind of talk about that a bit, how that impacts fantasy. The league spoke last week too. Man, we gotta talk about fantasy matchups. So we're gonna talk about week 2 fantasy matchups. We're gonna get into the fab bids for the waiver wire that took place Wednesday morning. Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk a little bit about fantasy losers and winners of week 1. So we're going to get right into it. So Ben,
let's do it.
The fantasy winner of week 1. If you could pick one winner out of week 1, who won it? Who won week 1 of fantasy?
I'll be honest. If you're going and looking at the league, then I think when you're looking at the scores from week 1, it's pretty clear that Ryan and Mark would put some mustard on it, man. I think that was a pretty significant win, 125 to 90 to secure that number 1 spot after week 1. I think that's got to be your big winner, but I think there's some other winners out there, but let me hear what you think. I feel like you probably agree with me, so I might throw out a couple others if you do agree.
I mean, I'm going to say Ryan and Mark. I think Tua. I mean, we all know what Tua's capable of. I think it's a ticking time bomb before he gets hurt or concussion. I hope he doesn't, because that's exciting football. Especially the Herbert and Tua matchup, the whole draft with those two. No, I think it's great. So I'm rooting for Tua. I hope he stays healthy, because I think he's quite the player. But I think week 1, Mark Ryan with Tua. If he does that all year, watch out.
Well, and you got to give them props, because when we were talking about Ryan and Mark's team, Tua obviously monster game. But let's look at the fact, too, that he had a really strong performance from Aaron Jones in Green Bay. He put up 25 points in our league. Travis Etienne Jr. had 18. And they pulled off that win with the fact that Drake London gave them a big old goose egg. Najee Harris only gave him 4 points. And they played Noah Gray because Travis Kelce was out. They got a solid 4 points off of that. So, honestly, they could have had a lot higher score, which is the impressive thing. But I will go ahead and give like a second place nod to, I hate doing this, but Mickey B. I'm going to say that's a win, because look who he got with his pick at 11. He got Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, Mr. 40-plus points in one game. So I'm just saying, it seems like it was a really good move to draft Tyreek Hill. One might even say it would be a great keeper pick.
If there's anything that you could say that's very true, it was that right there.
Right. So I think, Mike pulled out a pretty big win over Clark's team. And, let's be honest, Clark's team is much better than it put up the numbers. I think that's pretty obvious. I think that we'll see a lot higher scores from Clark, because name me another time where Joe Burrow throws 3 points up. It ain't going to happen.
Oh, I don't think that'll happen again. So, I thought about giving Mike my week 1 winner, but he took a significant hit to his team this week. We'll get more into the Dobbins injury with how he's out, but I think, Mike is celebrating he won, but he's scrambling for running backs.
if that's the case, I
Look,
encourage him to go talk to a certain team that may be managed by his mortal enemy in our league. So,
um,
Mitch, we knocked out who we think the winners are, but I was very curious because I think that there's actually a lot of losers from week one.
I mean,
So
one
I
could
was
argue there's 6 losers in week 1,
right,
but
but who's
I
the
think there's
biggest?
one. I think there's one clear cut. I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I was thinking about this earlier, I was like, I can make an argument for Robin I's team, but I gotta say AJ. Not only did his team lose by .02 points, .02 points. He's a Jets fan. There's a
Yep.
black cat or something in that organization because they're, I don't know, man. Just to have it ripped away like that,
Yep.
um, I, it sucks,
Dude,
man. Uh, I know I picked the Jets to win that division uh last week whenever we did this podcast. Not so
yep.
confident anymore.
No,
I
that would
mean, but
yeah, that
I'll
would
also say too, with the Dolphins after week 1, like the Bills did not look good. Now, week one anomalies, the jitters, whatever you want to call it. So I'm not going to think too much into it. But losing
mhm.
Aaron Rodgers, your Super Bowl hopes or making a run just went out the door.
Yep.
So
No, yeah,
they're no
yeah,
longer the Cowboys of the AFC this year. I guess that was
well,
really the Chargers, but you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah. Well, Mitch, I will tell you that for the losers of the week, I understood where you're coming with where you're coming from with the pick of AJ, but you actually touched on my losers for the week. You might actually know them quite intimately, as it's you. Yeah, I was looking at your guys's your roster, and I was really happy to see that at least one player showed out. The only one that I truly love. You may know him. His name's Patrick Mahomes. He's a god among men. But
I want to challenge that for a second. He did not even get his projected points. Only one player did that I started, and that was San Fran's defense. And go figure, my Eagles pick, they're the only other player that exceeded their projection points too. They're on my bench.
yeah, I mean, you guys clearly got the shaft on some things. Like Thursday night was not kind to you. Kadarius Toney was absolutely painful to watch. That did not help you guys out. Christian Kirk looked kind of like the third man in the wide receiver room for Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Calvin Ridley went there and actually he
he
just
lit
blew
it
up.
up.
Yeah,
Yep.
he looked amazing. And then who was it? Was it Zay Jones? Was the other one? And he had a decent game. So Christian Kirk didn't show out too much. I think he had one catch on the night. But if I know anything about Christian Kirk, that's going to change easily within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and
The guy has insane abilities.
so
So
with my team, like I just reminded myself, I think it was 2 years ago. I think week 1, I don't even know if I scored 50 points. I had like the worst, uh,
mhm.
like worst team week 1, and then I think I went on a 10-game spree. I was like one of the best teams going into the playoffs, and no, we didn't win that year. So week 1, I'm not too worried about. Week 1, you see a lot of anomalies, players shaking off their rust. So I'm not gonna panic just yet. But
No,
there are concerns with the team. Rob and I, we've been talking about it. I think we'll rebound, but like I said before, we got to get to week 4 or 5. We got to get Taylor back and hope he's playing. I'm still holding out hope he gets traded.
yep.
So, which technically could happen. I don't know if the Colts will do it, but I think if somebody gives them the right offer, they'll still trade him.
So let me ask you this then. Losing week one, nobody likes that. Does it
No.
sting more knowing that it came at the hands of Orschland's team?
Well, so let me say this. No, it's not fun to lose to Andrew. It was
Right.
my chance to kind of get back at him for losing the championship. But what I will say is, if I go back and look at points, he had the
Yeah,
eighth most points.
yes.
So
I lost this week in my matchup. I would have beaten both of your teams.
yeah,
So,
so I mean, a win's a win. So credit where
yep.
credit is due there, but it was not a pretty win. I think Andrew has issues on his team that he'll need to address. But once again, it's week one. I wish I could have scored 87 points and beat him, and I
I
would
just
be
want
happy
to
with a win. So
I just want to know how one addresses like retroactively going back and keeping Tyreek Hill instead of drafting Cooper Cup. Like I don't think you can fix that. It's just it's already showing itself to be the wrong move.
well,
So
I you're probably right. I mean, with Cooper Cup, especially with that other wide receiver, the guy I picked up off waivers,
yeah,
Puka, is that how you say his name?
I don't even know.
Um,
This guy is a nobody, and he blew up.
he did, and Rams might take their time. I mean, they might take their time until Cooper Cup is fully healthy to get started. So Andrew
Yep.
could be sitting in the boat for a while with Cup on IR. It's hard saying. I mean, it's at least 4 weeks. So, but hey, Andrew snuck out with a win. He did what I wanted to do, sneak out with a win. Our matchup became pretty even whenever Cup was going to be out because we were out. We were without Taylor and he was without Cup, so it was a coin flip,
Yep.
and he just won.
Yep.
Card Darius killed me.
Yes.
Why I have two Chiefs players on my team, I don't know.
Oh, I'll take him. Don't worry.
Um,
Mitch, I'll be honest, and everyone watching can hear this right now. Mitch, I will straight up swap you quarterbacks right now.
no, not happening. I'm
You
Mahomes.
don't
He's
want
the
to be
best quarterback in the league.
you don't want to be on the Josh Allen train?
Nope, I think he's done.
What?
It's
Nah.
I think I saw an interesting stat like last 7 games. It's not good. It's like old Allen.
Yeah,
Um,
I would agree.
I think he'll still be a massive fantasy quarterback, but he needs to turn it around. I'd rather have Trevor Lawrence. Definitely rather have Jalen Hurts
Jalen
or
Hurts.
Josh Allen. But I will
That
say Josh Allen is going to put up monster games for you this year. But there'll be some games where he will just do duds. One of the
you
reasons why I wanted Patrick Mahomes is that's his dud that you see on the
yep.
screen.
Yep.
So I bet I'm willing to bet he doesn't have another game, or he doesn't have a game where he passes fewer than 226 yards going forward the rest of this year. It's just uncommon. Week one jitters.
Yep. It really is.
So
And you got to wonder if like the preseason stuff factors into this cuz look at how many guys really did not take snaps in preseason.
yeah,
So,
it's rust. So
yep. You shake it off and you move forward.
yep. So next I want to go ahead and transition to waiver wire, the fab bids that
Yep.
went by. So or took place.
Yeah,
These
so
are the 4 big ones I have here on the screen. So
yep. We use the fab system so that allows everyone to place bids. We thought that it seems like the most fair way to go about this stuff and really gives you the opportunity to go after the player that you want. I don't think we've had a whole lot of complaints about it since we instituted it. It seems like it's going pretty
no.
well. And clearly, people took advantage of it for this Wednesday. Wow. I was surprised at the amount of money that was thrown out after week one.
So I'm not gonna lie. When I was talking with Rob, this was last night we are going through this. And I was like, man, I want this guy. I do. I'm like, we need to. It's okay to take a stretch now and try to get some players
Mm-hmm.
because our team, we're still trying to find our identity. Wide receiver is a big question mark. We don't know what's going to happen with Kirk. Um, Kadarius Toney, I was hoping he was going to be the sleeper pick kind of late, but
Yep.
I'm not willing to bet on that anymore. That could flip because that was his first week back after a lot of injuries. So you just thought it was worthwhile, at least in the interim, short term. I think there's a lot of upside for the next 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
McVay was pretty high on him
Yep.
during preseason stuff too, so I thought it was worthwhile. And that's a potential good keeper if things work out well. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it was really outstanding performance. Puka came in and I think he had 10 catches, 15 targets. I mean, this guy came in and basically said, I'm going to be Cooper Kupp for the day.
Yeah.
And it was really impressive, especially from a 5th-round rookie. Like, dang, nothing but
Yeah.
props over here. Nothing but
Yeah.
props.
And looking at this, it's always tough to kind of judge, like, where do you want to bid? Because you don't know what other people are going to do or how bad they want a player. And every once in a
Yep.
while, we'll see a fab bid, say that 5 times fast, that goes at, it's just a bid that, wow, they could have saved $20 on. We've seen that before. This one wasn't too bad. The difference between Rob and I's offer and Ryan and Mark's was only $6.
Yep.
They bid 15. Rob and I, we were guessing around $18, $19 was going to be the highest bid. And
Yep.
it's like, well, let's go higher, a little bit higher.
No, again, that's the whole point of the fab is you really want that person, you go throw out the money and make it happen.
Yep.
So you guys definitely pulled the trigger on this and you got your guy. Looking at some of the other people out here, we were talking that Mike's team, it might be in a little trouble trying to figure out how to address some injuries on there. Mike clearly went and said, okay, screw it. Joshua Kelly out of the Chargers camp. Austin Eckler, they reported is having some injury issues right now. But Josh Kelly stepped up in that game and he had a monster game just like Eckler. Like they
Mm-hmm.
both had really good games. So you almost got to wonder if Josh Kelly is going to be in a situation that's more of a 1A, 1B instead of a 1 and a 2. And, the Chargers offense could technically handle that. They now have Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator, and look what the Dallas Cowboys were doing when he was there. They were playing a
Yeah.
1A of Zeke and a 1B of Tony Pollard. So it would not
Yeah.
surprise me to see Joshua Kelly get some serious snaps this year because
Yeah.
we also know the Chargers do not want to pay Eckler that top dollar. So
Mm-mm.
it may be proving grounds for Josh Kelly as to why he should be the starter going forward. I don't know. So Mike
Yeah.
clearly thought, okay, I need a running back. Again, $21, it gets you that.
Yeah, he went $13 higher than the next offer, which was
Yep.
from Steve, but take into account you lose Dobbins.
Yep.
It's like, crap, you got to act on something. And Mike felt that he needed somebody now because
Yep.
he might need these wins this part of the year because he might struggle later on. So,
Yeah. Well, and you're looking at the other picks here. You've got AJ who went out and got Kyron Williams from the Rams. You're betting on that exact same scenario. Is Kyron Williams more of a 1B to Cam Akers 1A? We don't know. Last year, there's a lot of questions about Cam Akers. At one point, they were trying to trade him.
yeah.
And so you don't know. You really don't know what to make out of that. It could, honestly, when it comes to waiver wire stuff with running backs, I think that that's the most often used, fab bids. It's always on running backs more than anybody. So
Yep.
it makes sense. Now, Andrew going and picking up the Giants, well, okay, go for it. I will say that if we're really talking about big losers, though, the biggest losers from last week were the Giants, I would say, who got their butts handed to them 40-0 by the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not saying Dallas is, really, really good or really bad. I'm just saying that The Giants came out there. They looked great on their opening drive, but
And then
everything
they just
since
had their
then,
souls sucked out of them.
yep, it's like somebody just took all the life out of them and they just collapsed. So, Andrew, maybe you know something more than I do here, but I'm not entirely sure that the Giants are a team that I'd be seeking out for defense. The only reason you're doing it, matchups.
Yeah, and
So,
we'll see that matchup here soon
yep,
because we're going to be transitioning over to week 2 matchups.
yep.
I will say about the Cowboys though, Ben, their defense, holy smokes! I mean, it was
Don't
in the rain, but it's one of those with Cowboys defense. If Dak, this is all on Dak this year. If Dak plays, if he even plays like a top 15 quarterback and does not turn over the ball, the Cowboys will be a problem.
I
But I'll
believe
still jokingly say they'll find a way to mess up in the playoffs.
I believe the Cowboys could be a dangerous team this year, but I will say that little faith in Dallas's defense, since I am the team that actually lost this weekend because of Dallas's defense. I'm gonna say it right now, Drew. Congratulations on the win. Uh, if we were to, I don't know, watch a scenario where the Giants were able to produce anything on the field, then I don't believe you would have gotten that win. Uh, Numbers wise, if you had, maybe 10 points instead of the, 27, 30, whatever. Yeah, defense carried you this week. So, Drew, I'm going to go ahead and say it again. I still think your team is garbage. And I look forward to the rematch. I will not be losing it.
Clip that.
Yep, keep that. Going to need that later.
All right. Um uh week 2 matchups. Pull this up here.
Yeah, let's do
We
this.
will
I mean,
right
let's
here.
talk about this. Let's talk about this. We got a lot of input from the guys last week about
Yeah, we did.
wanting the matchups. So, uh, uh, if you're watching this and you're not in the league, you don't know. I actually took some time at work last week on my lunch break to do a quick little video of here's what I thought. I felt like I did a pretty good job and
You did. You knocked that thing out of the park.
kind of got most of the matchups right. There were some upsets that I was not happy about. But I will say that I disappointed somebody pretty big with my picks. Uh, little Josh watched the video and he texted me. He goes, "Man, you don't like my team?" And if you know little Josh at all, it's like I kicked a dog in front of him. I felt so bad. I was like, "Oh man, talking trash
Sometimes
on Josh's team."
sometimes when the dog is misbehaving, you got to kick it.
Well, I think it's the perfect segue into this segment because the first matchup of this week is me versus little Josh.
Oh wow. Yeah, and I didn't
So,
even like register that it was you two, like with how this is going. So
yep. So, this is why it's beautiful. A little history on me and Josh in the weekly matchups. Little Josh uses what I like to refer to as black magic when it comes to fantasy football. Uh, Probably today's Wednesday night. I'm going to say either tomorrow or possibly Saturday, Josh is going to send me a text and it's going to say something along the lines of, "I don't know, man. I'm not feeling too good about my team. I think you're going to beat me." And he has done this every year that we have played fantasy football. And several times, this leads to Josh winning, usually a game that's fairly close. And it upsets and infuriates me every time. And I tell him every year now, not this year. Now, thankfully, it's worked a couple times, but I want to be very clear, Josh. Not this year. It's not going to work. Let's get into this matchup. So, looking at it right now, I'll go ahead and tell you right now the quarterback. Josh and I may have two of the best quarterbacks in the league going at it this week with Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen. Uh, The only thing I can say there is that I think I have an advantage because I think my quarterback is playing the worst defense out of the two. I think I would rather face Vegas than Minnesota. Uh, I hate that Josh has Jamar Chase again as a keeper. I think Jamar Chase is one of the clear top receivers in the league. And he paired him with DK Metcalf, him being a Seahawks fan that he is, makes me nervous. Calvin Ridley, I'm banking on you having a great game for me. Keenan Allen, please just do anything. But I feel really good because Nick Chubb, he's my boy. Bijan Robinson may have a little trouble trying to keep up with that. Then I'm very, very thankful that Josh continues to employ tactics that I disapprove of, like drafting a Denver Broncos player. So Javonte Williams, I'm hoping Samaje P. Ryan has a monster day. I'm banking on Pacheco with the Chiefs doing a little damage for me. The tight end matchup, I think you can just flip a coin because neither one of them seems like they're going to have a big game. I'm going to play Mike Evans right now. Josh, I make no promises that stays that way, but Josh always beats me with receivers. So my current plan is to use as many receivers as possible to try and smack little Josh down. But in the end, I am going to try and bank on what I think is one of the greatest deciding factors in the league, and that is kickers. That's right, Andrew, you heard me. Relying on that leg of Justin Tucker to carry me to the promised land. I'm thinking double digits this week, probably even a 50-plus yarder. So I'm excited. Let's go Baltimore. It's that Cincy matchup, so I expect a lot of kicks. Mitch, all yours.
So, Ben, I think you're going to lose this week.
What?
I think you're going to lose. And the reason why, and maybe I'm a little biased about my Eagles, but I think they're going to have a big game against the Vikings. I don't think Vikings are that good. We're going into a Thursday night. That could be a hodgepodge of all kinds of stuff. But going to be in Philly for a home game. I just expect Jalen Hurts to ball. Jamar Chase, he's going to have a big game. Joe Burrow's going to turn around and they're going to flip a switch. They're not going to lose back-to-back divisional games. I can't believe they lost to Cleveland the way that they did. So
No.
I think they're going to flip a switch. They're going to get their act together and they're playing at home. The rest of it, so Bijan, I think he'll do fine. I don't want to get too specific into players. I like his matchups more than yours. I think Keenan Allen, I'm not a fan of. I think that's going to be a roller coaster all year, but his good games are just going to be good, never great. He's not a home run hitter like I think you'll see with Ridley or Allen and Chubb. Pacheco, he's not a home run hitter.
I'm
Evans,
hurt.
potentially. I think Baker's the wild card there. I was surprised with what Mike Evans did. I'm not going to lie. I was hoping the Chiefs were going to find a way to trade for Evans.
That's what I'm hoping.
So still hoping out for that. I don't know why I'm hoping for that, but I am. Oh, probably because I have Mahomes. And yeah, you have a good kicker and whatnot, but I think the combo of Jalen Hurts, Jamar Chase, I think they're going to have huge games. Josh is going to score north of 100 points. You will fall shy of 100.
All right, going to write down that Mitch was wrong this week.
All right, I want to transition over to Clark and Taylor.
I'll be honest, I don't even want to transition to this because looking at this, I'll go ahead and say, you guys just trade me your good players and accept the suck that is going to be your team this year. I feel like it's that simple, Mitch. I've told you guys what I think on Taylor's team. Justin Herbert, good quarterback. Justin Jefferson, good receiver. Garrett Wilson, great receiver, but does not have Aaron Rodgers anymore. So we're going back to Zach Wilson throwing him the ball. Yeah, I'm not buying this. Brees Hall, as long as he's taking the ball every snap and saving the Jets, maybe. But just in general terms, I'm gonna say it again. Taylor, your best player is Harrison Butker.
Ah, it's so with Taylor's team, in my opinion, before the Jets got hurt, Garrett Wilson, man, dude,
Yeah.
that guy could play. You have two starting players from the Jets, and their heart and soul just got ripped out of them.
Yep.
I think Taylor will lose this week because Jets are not going to perform that well, especially
I
against Dallas defense.
yeah.
I think they're going to get gobbled up.
I would give it to Matt on this matchup simply because it's like you said, Joe Burrow is going to come back after last week, and he's not going to let that game sit. Like he has to be furious about how that looked, and then getting benched in the game. Yeah, no, Joe Burrow. Honestly, I think he lights the game up. He may actually lead in like passing yards, just because he'll be so set on making a point. So I think that's going to be your game decision: is does Joe Burrow show up? If so, it's done. It's done.
Yeah. So Clark with the win, getting his first win of the season. He'll win with around 90 points, under 100. All right. We got Cameron and Drew.
Yeah, this one is interesting because I like looking at the projections for scores, and when you look at this, if I remember right, yeah, Drew is projected to win because he's going in the hundreds. Cameron has this habit about not being the higher ranked one. He often walks into the week without a kicker, so
He has a kicker right now.
he does have a kicker. He has Dicker the kicker. So I get to come into this as the team that has played Drew in the previous week, and I'll go ahead and say it. Drew, you were carried by your defense. Jerick McKinnon got you a solid 1. George Kittle really didn't do that much. Devontae Adams, I'm not sold on Las Vegas in general. And when we're banking on that many Cowboys, you better hope they're playing the Giants every week. Because if they're not, and they play, I don't know, a team that has like a pretty good defense, maybe even they're just so good they have some player who actually doesn't even get called by his name. They just call him Sauce, So basically, I'm saying I do not see the Cowboys putting up massive numbers on the Jets. I don't think that happens. I think they have a much, much harder New York opponent this time around. So I will actually say Cameron comes out victorious on this, even though he's, quote, the 45% underdog.
I have Drew winning.
Mitch, did you want to get any of these picks right?
I want to tell you why. I think Drew's living and dying with the Cowboys, and I think Cowboys are going to roll into town. Well, I guess they're rolling into town at home. First home game of the season against the Jets, who once again lost their quarterback. Dak will have a fine game. He'll get some stuff with Pollard, be fine. Dallas defense probably going to score at least 15 points, be my guess. Cameron, he's living and dying with Baltimore next week, and I think Cincinnati's going to punch him in the mouth. If Cameron doesn't get a total of 60 points between McCaffrey and Gibbs, which he won't, not with Gibbs, Cameron's not winning next week. I think Cameron will be lucky to get 90. Drew will win by scoring more than 100.
I think what you're really touching on here is that we are not scoring points as high as we used to.
Well, week one's always low. Like I think it'll uptick. I really do.
I agree, but it definitely seems like there's a lot fewer teams making triple digits right now. So maybe it's just a slow trend, but
Could be. So
You've already predicted several teams are not going to break 100. So, I mean, you seem to agree with that then too.
for now, so we haven't picked the same matchup, like same winner yet, have we?
Uh, no, I don't think
No,
so.
we both picked
Wait,
Clark.
we both picked Clark. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So one game.
All right. Going to Mike versus Ryan and Mark.
This one's so easy for me. Which team is not run by Mike? Yeah, that this is usually how I try to plan these things. Is that my nemesis in fantasy football seems to be quote Uncle Mike, and I ain't having it, Mike. If there's any karma out there, it's that I'm going to win the championship and you're going to get last, and somebody gets to rename your team. That's what I want for Christmas this year. Okay, so I will give it to Ryan and Mark, the guys who scored the most points last week, the guys who I believe are getting Travis Kelsey back this week. Uh, Honestly, that team, they look pretty scary. If Tua can compete at that same level all season long, Tua is a top 5 quarterback at that rate then. So uh, I will say it'd be interesting to see if Atlanta can, I don't know, involve Drake London in the slightest. But I look at that team and I think the Tua Jalen Waddle connection is great. I love Travis Kelsey. It's clearly the number one tight end in the league. Aaron Jones to me is more solidified in his role in Green Bay now that Aaron Rodgers isn't there. So he looks more like a workhorse running back than he has in years. So I give it to Ryan and Mark. I think that that's going to be a pretty clear cut win, even though, again, Yahoo says Mike's going to win. I don't believe it.
So I'm gonna give the edge to Ryan and Mark. I think this will be a close game. I think a lot of it's gonna ride on if Kelsey plays this week. But man, dude, Tua and then Brandon Ayuk last week too.
Yeah.
This team is just dirty. Waddle didn't have a great game,
Nope.
but that could go. That could be either Hill or Waddle or both.
I would say,
So,
imagine if it did, though.
oh, I know. So Ryan and Mark's team, they're living and dying with Miami. If Tua goes down, they will take a hit, but I think they'll still be fine, especially if Ayuk keeps doing what he's doing. Aaron Jones did Aaron Jones things last week. It'll be a close matchup. I'm gonna pick Ryan and Mark to win this. Both Ryan and Mark and Mike all score north of 100 points, but Ryan and Mark will take the win.
Yep. Look at that. We did agree. It's so nice.
We've agreed on 2 and disagreed on 2. Oh, Stevie.
Yeah, you go ahead and start this. Tell me what you think here.
All right. Man,
Are you struggling that much?
it's gonna be Andrew.
Wow. I'll have what he is having because you are clearly delusional.
And the reason why, because I like Steve's team. Sorry, I'm not sold on Geno Smith.
Oh, you don't have to be.
Well, outside of that, I'd like to think T. Higgins will have a big game. Austin Eckler, big question marks on his health. Darren Waller tweaked his hamstring, same hamstring that put him on IR last year. Stevenson, that's his best keeper. I don't think Stevenson's going to get that many points there in Miami unless it just turns into a shootout, then it might. But I think, it's just not a fan of it. I think with Andrew, I think with Trevor Lawrence, I think that's going to turn into a shootout in Kansas City. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a big game. Michael Thomas. he had a good day week 1. I think that's going to turn out to be a big player that Andrew drafted. Might even turn out to be better than Cooper Kupp. It just feels dirty saying that.
No,
It's and then it's just overall, I like. It's not that I like Andrew's team. I just don't like Steve's team next week, and I think a lot of it has to do with injuries. If Eckler and Waller are healthy and they play, sure, I'll give Steve the edge, but I don't think that's going to be the case. And honestly, hold on, I'd even look at Steve's bench. Tyler, he could play David Montgomery, which he actually had a good game last week. I don't know. I think with Andrew, I think he'll have a better week this week than he did week 1. I'm not a fan of his team. I'm not a fan of Swift right here at the moment. Swift will have his time. I don't think it's going to happen in week 2.
Nope. Look, I'll be honest. I'm not crazy about either team. I like more players on Steve's team. Like Geno Smith, Stevie, yeah, you're going to have to try harder to make us believers on that. But Chris Olave and Mike Thomas on the other side, I will take Chris Olave in that matchup every day. That would then put Devontae Smith versus T. Higgins. And like I said, I fully expect Joe Burrow to show out next week. And if he's going to show out, that means they have to lock down and focus on Jamar Chase. That could mean T. Higgins is massively open. So Austin Eckler, that's my boy. I think he's one of the most talented guys in the game. Extremely, extremely fast. Smart. So if he's healthy, plug him in and play. You really can't. I've never been high on Joe Mixon. I still just don't see it. Darren Waller, yeah, you know what? It's the Giants. Who knows what they'll do? They might throw another goose egg next week. I don't care. Tight end, unless you have one of the top 3, it really doesn't matter. There you go. Next year, I'll make the case for no tight ends. Ramondre Stevenson, I think, is a great keeper. But more importantly, it's when I look at Andrew's team, I love the Trevor Lawrence pick. I think Devontae Smith was quietly one of the best wide receivers in the league last year. Michael Thomas, you're an injury away from being irrelevant again. Josh Jacobs, you play for the Raiders. I have nothing nice to say about you. James Cook, yeah. Let me know which Bills team shows up. Evan Ingram, you are the 4th man in a passing attack, maybe even 5th man for Jacksonville. But most importantly, DeAndre Swift. It was supposedly his show to run, and instead Drew looked like a genius in week 1 by keeping Kenneth Gainwell, and DeAndre Swift didn't do like anything. Like, Philly, why did you even go pick him up then? Why did you make this deal if you're not going to use him? So I'm a little confused about the usage there.
Can I defend D Swift for a moment?
Yeah, I think you should.
He'll have his moment, and he will be impactful. Think Boston Scott. Think Darren Sproles. D Swift could be quite the unique individual on that team. Eagles, they need to keep their plays simple right now. Reminder: new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. They were a little rusty week 1. They got a little bit better there towards the end, actually able to move the ball some. But yeah, D Swift will have his time. And Gainwell, it's looking like he's not going to play on Thursday. Yep. So Swift and Penny, they will have their time. I think it'll be more Swift than Penny. They'll be smart with Penny.
Yep.
But he'll have his moment. D Swift, he might have a big game. He might not. I'm not betting on a big home run game at a Swift. I don't bet that on any Eagles running back. But it won't surprise me if Swift gets those points that he's projected. But we'll see more Swift this week. I just don't think it'll be anything big.
Yep. So yeah, you say Andrew, I say Steve, and here we are disagreeing again.
So Andrew will win, just shy of 100 points.
Feels dirty.
I just lost to the man. How do you think I feel? I want Steve to win. Steve, I'm rooting for you, by the way. Basically, I'm rooting for anybody that hasn't won the trophy yet, or the belt, rather.
Oh, yes. The last matchup here. Mitch and Rob versus AJ. Now, Mitch, just for fun, how do you think I'm going to go on this?
You'll probably pick AJ.
You think?
No,
Are you sure?
I don't know.
Sure?
I'm gonna go through mine, because if I think about it, I think you're thinking Patrick Mahomes is gonna have a big game. He's gonna carry my team this week.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go through my team real quick. I might be a little biased, just a little bit biased. I'm gonna pick my team. It will be a close game. I'm not a fan of Justin Fields. I think he's overrated. He'll be the next Matt Ryan, except he's not going to even be close to Matt Ryan's ability. He's on a losing team, a losing franchise. Sorry. Justin Fields, any points that he gets will be in garbage time games. I don't think the game against Tampa Bay is going to give Chicago much garbage time. It'll probably be a close, low-scoring game. That will be my guess.
Yep.
Quarterback, I'm going to destroy you in points. That's my prediction. Wide receivers, I'm gonna get spanked here. I'm just gonna leave it simple as that. CeeDee Lamb, yeah, you're going against the Jets. I think CeeDee Lamb will have a good game. I'm on St. Brown, dude, bro. He's fun to watch. So
extremely good.
Like that's a player I'd like to get on my team. I really would. AJ, if you're interested in trading him, let me know. Sorry, I just dropped Aaron Rodgers. He's out there though if you want him. Saquon Barkley, he'll bounce back this week. The Giants aren't going to have another bad week like that. I can't, especially against Arizona. I don't think they will. AJ will have a good week. I think our matchup's going to be close, but Rob and we will come out on top. Our team will rebound. It'll kind of be a rubber band effect. We were one way last week. We'll bounce back and have a good week this next week before we kind of even out and have consistent weeks. So I'm banking on that.
Well, I'll go ahead and say that it feels dirty saying it. Yes, you're right. I'm going to take AJ. And I think we agree on a lot of points. I am not sold on Justin Fields. I don't see it. I don't think this is some franchise quarterback that's going to turn Chicago around. I just don't buy it. I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. So that makes it a very easy pick for that. But looking at this team, I can point out that I don't think it's a complete team by any means. Again, CeeDee Lamb, he's a great receiver, but which Dak shows up, that affects him greatly. Saquon Barkley, yeah, he's clearly a talented player, but you never know what you're getting with the Giants. So I think he's definitely at least a double-digit producer. I really did think Dalvin Cook was going to get a lot of carries, but considering that Breece Hall was going to be kept on like limited snaps, and Breece Hall had a really good game last week. So I don't know that Dalvin Cook is going to get a whole lot of action. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Don't know. Mitch, you're a better judge of Dallas Goedert than I could ever be, so I would defer to you on that. But
he's Dallas Goedert. He's one of those. He can be a home run hitter, but he might put up 4 points for you any given week. He's not a consistent tight end. He has the ability. I think skill wise, he's a top 5 tight end in the league. Fantasy wise, that's a stretch.
But I will also say that I look at AJ's team and playing Zach Moss in your flex. Oof. To me, that is a colossal bet. That is a big gamble.
I mean,
Because
let's look at the bench here
yeah,
because Zach Moss is likely going to get the start there in Indy this week.
yeah,
Um,
yep. I already see players I would play over Zach Moss. I see 3 of them, to be honest.
well, yeah, he has time to figure that out.
Yep. So yeah, AJ, you want to convince me a little bit more? Just take Zach Moss out of your flex. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, Mitch, I like your quarterback a lot. Uh, Christian Kirk, like I said, he's in a high flying passing offense now, so you never know who's going to be the hot hit. Jacksonville looks like a lot of fun, so I have a lot of faith in them. Puka, I don't know what we're gonna get. I'm excited for it though. Like, imagine if he does blow up again, and that's what we're talking about all season. Like, oh my god, the Rams don't need Cooper Cup; they have Puka. So that would blow
might be
my
kind of
mind.
doubling down against Andrew, trying to get him too. But like, I got a better wide receiver, and I got him off waiver wire.
Yeah.
So
So not crazy about your running backs. I have never been a big believer in Miles Sanders. I love Jamal Williams as a person. I just wish that the Saints could utilize him like Detroit did. And other than that, TJ Hawkinson, stellar pick for Minnesota. I think he could be a big game. The only thing hurting him is playing against Philly D.
yeah,
So that's the big thing there. Mari Cooper, which Deshaun shows up, we don't know. So I will take AJ, but I'm going to go ahead and say that this game is going to be very, very close.
AJ probably should win. I just think my team is going to rubber band back, man, this week. All right. Man, Ben, we've already been at this thing for 50 minutes.
I know. We talk too much,
So
apparently.
we do talk too much. So real quick, this year already 2 big players out for
Yep.
the season, Rodgers and J.K. Dobbins. Uh, sucks to be a Jets fan,
Yep.
having all that hope ripped away. J.K., I mean, is he done? Like, the poor guy can't catch a break.
I don't. J.K. Dobbins, it seems like every year, either in preseason or the first game of the season, injury.
Yeah,
And I don't know what to make of it because the guy, I believe, is very talented. He's got speed, he has good moves, he's solid with catching in the backfield. Like, it, on paper, it's somebody that we all would want to have if we were managing a team. He looks really good. It's just
yeah.
that injury history, and you feel bad because you know the guy wants to be out there playing. So
He's a good player,
for
too.
his sake,
It's just,
yeah, for his sake, I hope he's back again. But I just don't know if Baltimore's willing to put up with it again and just
yeah.
carry him the entire year. And so I guess my point is if he comes back, it's probably on a different team for much less money.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, he's going to become one of those players that I just won't touch in fantasy unless it's like round 10 or 11 if I draft him. It's just because you're so scared he's going to get hurt. You root for him, but he just becomes one of those players that you just don't touch anymore.
I call those Mike picks.
So did you see the, I guess, tweet or message Aaron Rodgers put out today? So, a message. I got this from an app. I don't know if this was actually from Twitter or not. He did a Batman reference from The Dark Knight. The night is darkest before the dawn, and I shall rise yet again.
Well, I mean, there's your answer. Is he going to be back? It seems like he has a pretty strong idea on that one.
I think if he wants to follow Brett Favre, the next thing is he goes to Minnesota, right? And then
I mean, here's your hot take.
sorry, bad joke.
I'll go ahead and tell you that Kirk Cousins will not be playing for the Vikings next year, I believe.
Maybe the Jets and Vikings will trade quarterbacks.
I actually
Maybe
think
they'll do
Kirk
that this year.
Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins could still end up in San Francisco. They have been trying to make that happen for a while.
I don't think so. Brock Purdy, no. I think we'll give it a few more weeks, and then I think the rest of the NFL world's gonna be like, they got a quarterback there.
I'm just
It's
saying
gonna be one of those they got lucky with, but
it's a potential. I'm just saying it's a hot take. We'll see.
it's a very hot take. Okay. Into the last thing. So last week, Ben and I, we did a game prediction for Thursday nights. We're going to continue to do this. We're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to do a season-long challenge because we found out after losing week 1, trying to do something every single week, well, we're probably going to get a lot of these wrong. So we're going to change it up to something for a year-long competition. We're going to keep track of how many you get right and how many you get wrong. We'll have more details later on how we're going to do all that, but we're going to go ahead and make a bid on this, or a bet on the spread. We have Vikings at Eagles. The current spread is Eagles by 6. So Ben, what are you betting on? Think Eagles are going to beat the spread?
There's a really big part of me that says the Eagles are just really, really good. But
They are.
But if you remember back, I actually picked the Vikings to potentially go to the Super Bowl this year. I think I'm going to regret that pick. But in the name of that pick, I'm going to pick the Vikings to actually win the spread on this. Remember, this
All
means
right.
it doesn't mean the Vikings have to win. It just means that
I know.
Philly has to beat them by at least 6.
All right.
So,
well, Eagles are going to beat the spread. I think they're going to win by at least 2 possessions.
oh God, please God, no! Don't
So
let this happen.
that's all right. I think with that, that's going to wrap up episode 5.
Yep.
Another long episode. League, really anybody, whether it's comments in our Discord channel or even on the YouTube channel, if there are particular topics in a given week you want us to talk about, please share. We're open to ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, Ben and I, we're just going to keep talking whatever we come up with. Hopefully here soon, we'll bring on another guest. I think we're about ready for that.
Yeah, I think so.
And then, yeah, but I think that's it for tonight's episode. So
Yep.
as always, sorry, Ben, real quick, did you have something?
Nope. I think we've taken enough time. I think we have.
All right. Well, as always, if you like what you see, please like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll catch you all next week.